Hello and welcome to my channel. Go ahead, hit the like, hit the share. This video, I'm going to answer the question as asked in the last video's comments on how I feel about Azriel's betrayal of R. Kelly. But before I do that, let's review what was enclosed about Azriel in the indictment. Now, as much as I've searched, I haven't seen the updated copy of this New York indictment. So we're just going to go by how they have the Jane Does listed. Because, as you know, they've switched up this indictment quite a bit. Now, according to this indictment, I believe Azriel to be Jane Doe number 4. And for that, they have him in the racketeering for the Mann Act. And it says as follows. The defendant, Robert Sylvester Kelly, committed the following acts, any one of which alone constitutes Racketeering Act 7. A. Transportation. In or about July 2015, within the District of Connecticut, the defendant, Robert Sylvester Kelly, together with others, did knowingly and intentionally transport an individual to with Jane Doe number 4, an individual whose identity is known to the grand jury in interstate commerce, with intent that such individual engage in sexual activity for which a person can be charged with the criminal offense, to with violations of Connecticut, coercion, and enticement. In or about July 2015, within the District of Connecticut, the defendant, Robert Sylvester Kelly, together with others, did knowingly and intentionally persuade, induce, entice, and coerce an individual, to wit, Jane Doe number 4, to travel in interstate commerce to engage in sexual activity and coercion of a minor. In or about July 2015, within the District of Connecticut, the defendant, together with others, did knowingly and intentionally persuade, induce, and entice and coerce an individual who had not attained the age of 18 years. Okay. Transportation. Another incident, October 2015. But let's pause right there and go back to this July incident. So as I go into R. Kelly's timeline, the only time that I see R. Kelly in Connecticut in July would be at this performance at the Foxwoods Resort Casino. Around the same time, if you had went to Azriel's Twitter, it seemed like she had a lot going on in between her and her former boyfriend. But it don't seem like she was doing any traveling according to her timeline, as every time she did any traveling, she made sure to post it. Go to her boyfriend's around that same time frame. He's posting things like, my last girlfriend wasn't a hoe, she just said hoe things. Then he's tweeting her, F you. Then he's tweeting her, if I was to take you back, I would. No lie. Let's fast forward. according to this article, a source pinpointed seeing Azriel at this specific concert. And that source was Asante McGee. She said, I met a girl who I'd seen at a 2015 show in Connecticut. I remember seeing her sitting on his lap, and I thought then that she looked mighty young. But a lot of us look younger than we really are, so I didn't question it then. Once I moved in, I learned that she was only 17 years old. That's when I started to get concerned. Okay, so moving on to the next witness. Cheryl Mack tells Tasha K that Azriel Clary gave R. Kelly oral sex in front of her at age 17. And this was July 29th, 2018. Shouldn't a question have been then, with these people alleging these two incidents, why didn't you come forward then with this information? What was the point in both parties then contacting Tim Savage to get all this drama stirred up instead of contacting the police? So let's back up. Because then they wanted to, of course, lead the public into believing that Azriel was missing, even though they knew very well where she was. According to the beginning of their timeline, Azriel met R. Kelly 4/18, 2015. This was when R. Kelly performed at the Funk Fest. So on the 19th, Azriel posts, R. Kelly gave me some small black panties. The thing about that is, according to other fans that were at that same show, R. Kelly was doing a promotional for his upcoming Black Panties tour. So he was dishing out black panties to random people. And it's just ironic how they put this out there purposefully, along with the other things that I'll point out as well. Now, when you go to the discovery, you will notice for Jane Doe number 4, they have 3 different dates. They have 5/2015 twice for Airline Manifest, and September 20th, 2015. But as I showed you in the indictment, they have July and October listed. So what is the purpose in these airline tickets, and what is it supposed to prove? You have Azriel. I guess the point was because Azriel was doing some traveling, and as I said earlier in the video, she made sure to post when she was doing the traveling. That's why I find it unlikely that she would have neglected to post going to this concert with R. Kelly in July. Nonetheless, she's posting about being in Chicago, May 2015. And as you notice with these indictments and with their evidence, they will never give you specific dates. So all they have is 5/2015 in the discovery. Now, if you went down her timeline, you will notice that this seemed to be a frequent thing of Azriel going to concerts. Question is, who was with her? And who was making sure she was in the front row? trying to be seen. In March, talking about my boo at Meek Mills, already establishing a pattern of crushing on older men. Then we see a dramatic change in the way she's presenting herself. At the age of 17, is this how you sent your daughter to a concert? And if you look even harder, you will notice, as we all saw, who on the case. That seems rather intentional, if you ask me. But anyways, I said all that to say this. At the end of the day, her story alone makes absolutely no fucking sense. And the fact that they have this little piece of paper still attached to this notebook is their evidence, saying that a woman named Valerie Denise Payton was who they're giving authorization to chaperone their daughter. How does this prove that she was around R. Kelly? I don't see R. Kelly's signature on this. This ain't even a legal document. So why is it if we have this RICO, this enterprise, we don't have the person who's listed as the alleged chaperone? And then we have the parents with this bullshit ass story saying, we thought that this woman was a representative from Sony. Come on now. Come on. Just be real. Does that mean that you blindly gave your daughter permission to travel with a woman you didn't even investigate and ensure was the person she said she was? So you mean to tell me any random person could have just came up to you and said they work for Sony and you would have signed a permission slip for your daughter to go with them? Now, just to top it off, then we have her father exposing exactly what went left. Because even hypothetically speaking, if they did think something was going on between Azriel as a 17-year-old and R. Kelly, they would have been fine as long as she had have gotten a song out of the deal.
I ain't get up from him. That was my girlfriend. She was at dead on one saying, okay, we done. That's a good thing. I ain't got to lose no more money in that shit. How's that?
No, you just wanted to make a song, huh? No, you just wanted to make a song, huh? No, you just wanted to make a song, huh?
Hey, if she had made her song, then she got that fulfillment like even down. Like you didn't use it to anything for her. If you were getting fulfillment, I wouldn't even been deep in that hard down. If you were getting fulfillment, I wouldn't even been deep in that hard down with you. If you were getting fulfillment, I wouldn't even been deep in that hard down with you.
So you think if she would have sat up there and went in there and did a song with R. Kelly, then all this shit would have been going on with her being 17 and all this shit? So you think if she would have sat up there and went in there and did a song with R. Kelly, then all this shit would have been going on with her being 17 and all this shit?
And I don't think none of it would have really went on because she would have got to fulfill her independence. And I don't think none of it would have really went on because she would have got to fulfill her independence.
Shout out to DJ Tyson for that. But that is exactly why, from day one, I have had absolutely no respect for Azriel Clary and his minion over here. I ain't even gonna say his name. For the simple fact, if you had listened to them from the beginning, you would have heard the bullshit. Number one was the fact that they kept saying about this 17 shit, when if you go look up the age of consent, what does it tell you? The fact of the matter is, they tried to make R. Kelly an authoritative figure just to charge him in the way that they did. But that don't change the fact. Number one, we have yet to see concrete evidence that Azriel was with R. Kelly between the dates that they have stated. Number two, the dates that they have stated don't add up. According to them, they didn't let Azriel go travel till 3 months before her 18th birthday, yet they're bringing up her doing this traveling in time periods where Angelo was so dumb he blew his own story. Now, Angelo was so busy trying to prove what a star Azriel was going to be without R. Kelly, he posted this little flyer in which it showed she was touring, doing shows and whatnot. In May 2015. So could that not explain this airline ticket they have provided? So clearly, if you looked at R. Kelly's itinerary from 2015, it won't be hard to put his timeline together and to notice some discrepancies within this story. With all that R. Kelly had going on, you want us to believe that he was spending time going back and forth trying to transport Azriel's ass against her will. But back to the subject at hand. I just had to get the story out there first and foremost because it's utter bullshit. Utter fucking bullshit. So to sit her and watch her tell us the motive behind her betrayal is very clear. To sit here and tell us, yet again, you signed this consent 3 months before her 18th birthday, and then to keep going on these platforms stressing she was 17 and have yet to prove she was even with R. Kelly during that time frame is funny. Even more so funny, they're on record saying things like, I didn't trust him. What I trusted was I raised my child right. I trust my daughter will be honest with us. But then according to them, before signing over these guardianship rights to this woman they thought was representing Sony, they allegedly caught her at a hotel room with R. Kelly. Now, what parent in their right mind will then after that continue to pursue anything with them? The fact was, they were more interested in trying to build a professional relationship with R. Kelly that he wasn't interested in. According to this, Clary said they actually developed a professional relationship with Kelly over the next few months. They even pitched various business ideas, various business deals, all of which Kelly rejected. Sounds like even more motive. So then when she comes out and she's trying so hard to be seen, people make mention to the fact that she's trying to embody Aaliyah with the first picture she decided to post. No coincidence it came after this fake Joycelyn Patreon account, which, if you ask me, I believe these people were behind that, along with all the other fake Joycelyn accounts. People are clearly boosting her head up, making her think she could ever be anything like Aaliyah. It's comical. Even her dad, during the time that she's supposed to be missing, still trying to pitch her to another celebrity. But she's showing us exactly what the problem was. She, like so many others, wanted to be the wifey. I don't know any rational person that would be 1 minute talking about, I am a victim of this person, but I'm going to keep wearing their clothes. And in her little fairy tale world, her justification, she says, clothes don't define me. There are female celebrities that still have cars, houses, and clothes from their exes. Make sure you go comment under their stuff too. There's a difference between having gifts from an ex that you may still have and sitting there putting on their clothes to film Snapchat videos, YouTube videos, etc. Every time you turn around, she's throwing out that subliminal, he didn't make her his wife. So at the end of the day, even so much as continuously posting the man's dog. So at the end of the day, it's very clear that Jane Doe number 4, Azriel Clary, will not make a credible witness. So, considering how worked up I see a lot of people getting when they see her ignorant post, I would just laugh for the simple fact she's fucking up her own case against R. Kelly. And the fact that she says that her testifying on him depends on his fans solidifies what I felt from the beginning. In the beginning, she wanted to portray the image of being the writer. She's coming out saying all love, no hate, please. If you see haters, drop a cookie. She's doing all that to play both sides. At the same time, how would you feel if you're watching your partner's fan base, for the most part, spend so much energy saying negative things about you? And then you find out you're not that special girl your daddy and his little minions put out there. How would you feel? Would you continue to try to be a rider for this man? Or would you say, forget that, let me figure out how to get my own bag off of his name? You could clearly see her father and his little guy riding in the coattails this whole time, trying to sway her decision. And while they want to keep portraying R. Kelly as the master manipulator, Same thing we've heard from the beginning from Cheryl Mack. They keep pushing this master manipulator. But I think we can see clearly who's manipulating the situation. As they said before, Azriel was doing her own thing before meeting R. Kelly. And it's a shame that her father, the career criminal, would rather try to take a shortcut and, in a sense, put his daughter at risk for his own selfish reasons. Clearly, they have had professionals around them, so they know the proper channels and the way to maneuver. But instead, they wanted to try putting her in the front row, as she captioned, to see where that would go. Sadly, R. Kelly just happened to have the shady people in his camp that will enable this type of behavior. I think some of you have heard before how things go in Florida. Most refer to it as the scamming capital. So if you take someone who has a history such as Azriel Clary, and it looks like in 2015, Azriel Clary had a failure to register, because he did have a sexual offense on his record. Looks like that started February 2015. So when you have a career criminal, how is it a surprise that they will use their own daughter, who they spent more time away from being in and out of jail, than actually raising to be the queen that he's portraying he wants to motivate women to be today? You look at his background, you don't see one official job that this man has had. But you do see, ironically, that he has made a LLC using Tim Savage's daughter's company. And he did this January 2020. In conclusion, my thoughts on Azriel: she is what she eats. And all this she's doing to try to help her dad cover their bullshit tracks is only going to dig a deeper hole for themselves. These Photoshop photos and whatever video she may claim to have means absolutely nothing. So at the end of the day, it sounds a little odd to me, all these people are having to submit these text messages and all that, when shouldn't the prosecutors and all these people, aren't they able to subpoena the official records from the communication companies? Cardi B already showed us how easy it is to get caught up in someone using fake messages. So is it irrational to think that these people could have faked messages to present? We already know Crooked Avenatti put his work in to get Kim Fox to proceed with soliciting these victims to get her charges started. So is it far-fetched to believe that everything else that they may call evidence is a load of bullshit? Now, we already know she filed a fake police report and lied about the incident with her and Joycelyn, and even did this premeditated, as she made this post, as I pointed out before, at 1:43 and then goes live at 2 to fight Joycelyn. So just like her scamming ass father and his convicted attorney, I don't think their words are going to hold up in the court system. It says a lot when even the people trying to sabotage R. Kelly point out the fact that the parents practically continuously pushed Azriel onto R. Kelly. According to them, he didn't know of her age until after she was 18. So again, who's to say they had any relationship prior to that? She may have forgotten some of the things she's posted over these last few months. But you can trust and believe, if I don't have the receipts, it's plenty of other people that do. And that's a fact. As always, shout out to everybody supporting this channel. The cash apps are always appreciated, never expected. And before I close out, allow me to share with you a letter that was drafted by Opinionated News, in which he would like for us all to pen a letter on behalf of R. Kelly to the judge. And he has given us a sample. Now, I don't feel like everybody should be sending the exact same letter. Of course, put things in your own words, but it's just a template as to the message you're trying to get across. Feel free to pause this video and screenshot it. He also has this posted on his channel, and I believe in his description, so you can also get it from there, but this is just a preview of what was sent to me.
Wrong. Our last conversation that I had with him in Chicago, he inspired me and told me, "Bear, just do what you want, do what makes you happy." He told me to continue to pursue my dreams, pursue whatever I want to pursue, and that's really all that I would be able to do.
And by the way, now old Azriel is saying she doesn't support the documentary where she's doing all this dramatic crying on R. Kelly's behalf. Why? Because, of course, Shabazz outed the fact that she's lying. And here's where she's clearly saying that her testifying depends on his fans. But one thing's for sure, They walking on thin ice. They're definitely not about to disrespect me, my family, and attempt to punch lies into my story because I choose to share with the world what I've endured. And according to her, she didn't leave R. Kelly because he was abusive. She didn't leave R. Kelly because he made her eat her own bowel movements. No, no, no. She left R. Kelly because he was lying and lying to Joycelyn. Yeah, make that make sense. You didn't mind eating the doo-doo, but the last straw was when he lied to Joycelyn. Or is the truth that you found out it's Joycelyn's turn and you're going to sabotage her being able to visit him? Maybe that's how that went. What do you think? Meanwhile, her father's advocating for young queens, while one daughter's admitting to eating doo-doo and the other one's on Instagram with the dildo. Okay, make that make sense. I'm gonna leave y'all with that as I get ready for the next video. Who is it gonna be about? Well, since I heard something interesting tonight, how about we connect Wayne Williams and Linda Merch, or whatever her name is. Do I believe Wayne Williams is testifying against R. Kelly? No. And I'm going to show you just why. Stay tuned.